11. Episode 11. We've made it to over 10. We've double digits. We've done 11, or this is episode number 11. Each week we pick up a few more people watching us. People like some of the stuff we're talking about. No one's one makes a comment, but that's okay. I'm just enjoying talking comics. This is the earliest, Joe. You get to join me in this. I do the article every week, but usually I always look at it like on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now I'm looking at these books. I'm looking at them on a Tuesday, and then looking at them on Thursday. And the thing says it's clobbering time. I'll throw this up here. But it is fun to jump in and look at these books and jump into them. So, nevertheless, let's jump in and look at these books. Let's look at some of the ones we missed and go into it. And guys, got a special thing that we're going to show. I sort of teased it a little bit on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, it's also a little tease. And Joe has something to show off, and I'm making him do it, whether or not he wants to. Yes. But we'll get to that in the end. You get a little tease there on the right-hand side, and we'll talk about all these books that you see here as we go into the show. So let's first talk about books that we talked about, books that we missed. These are some of the hotter books this week. Joe, we talked last week. There weren't a lot of books that we were just going, yeah, that's awesome. Let's get them.
Yeah. I did go, though.
You did? Huh?
On Wednesday, yeah.
One book, this one on the left, is an ash can that I guess Friday it sort of came out that this was going to be released. It was a one per store ash can for Something's Killing the Children 21. I know when I went to my LCS, they were asking $100 for it. I know. I heard another one that was asking $100 for it. This one, the guys that were lucky got it for $50, and that blows my mind for an ash can. It's like 7 to 8 pages, but it's something that killing the children. People love collectability. Boom. On issue 21, they said they were never going to do more store exclusives after issue 1 of any of their Boom books, and like the last exclusive for Something's Killing the Children was supposed to be issue 16. Well, Boom said, "Wait a minute, we're missing out." Like last week, when we did that dive into Comic-Con, it was very obvious what books from Image. Oh, these all had store exclusives. Mm-hmm. Oh, these made the top 100 when Image books don't make the top 100.
Boom.
So I'm sure the people that work at Boom went, we want to make money again. So Something's Killing the Children 21. I've already seen at least 3 or 4 different store exclusives come out. They're slowly releasing them. The book comes out in March, but they start doing the buy-in. Sometimes you even have to buy in before the book comes out, before you even see the images.
Right.
So this has been a hot book this week. The one in the middle is the 1 for $50 of Iron Fist number 1. 100, 120 is what I was seeing. Do you know what the big reveal is, Joe?
Yeah, I read it. I got it.
Iron Fist is Swordmaster.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know how. I didn't read the book. I didn't even buy the book. It wasn't something that I was like, oh man. But Swordmaster is Iron Fist. Well, like that's not our first appearance.
Right.
So for me, this book is sort of a novelty. It's sort of cool to have. Do you see Swordmaster becoming the Iron Fist?
No.
Okay.
I think my story that I had concocted in my head for what this was going to be might have ruined me for opening the book, because I was like, oh, this is cool. We're going to end up with 2, like a brand new Iron Fist, kind of doing what we'd done back in the day with 2 Thors, 2 Spider-Mans, 2, Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, it's the Swordmaster. It was a fun read. I'll read the rest of them. I didn't love the artwork.
Yeah.
But and the writing was a little I don't know. Too comic booky for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you called this cover out and said, well, there's the homage cover that we keep seeing and we'll forever see.
Oh yeah.
So
anytime a character is quitting, leaving, they're going to put this cover. Well, quitting, they put this cover. Leaving, they do was it X-Men 137?
Yeah.
The Cyclops one they've done 100 times.
Yeah.
And finally this book on the right is not like, when I say hot, it's like a cover price book that's now going for 10. for $8. It's like you can probably still find it in your store. But this is the B cover of Patrick Gleason. This is this. It's a great cover. I bought the A and B. I get Spider-Man in my pool, so I always get the A cover. But I had to get this cover as well. It's a really nice. Just something about it. I think I struggled whether or not to put it in our show last week. I can't even remember if I did.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
But it's just a fun cover. If you can
A lot
find
of
it, there was
energy.
no incentive for it that week.
Are you reading it yet? Have you caught up?
I have not caught up. Because they release every week, it's driving me crazy. Just like the detectives, it's so hard to even try because you're like, wait, I have to read how many?
Yeah.
So
I'm so far behind.
this week, guys, here's sort of our list. We're going to talk about each of these books, guys. We actually have a lot of books in our indie spotlight section. It makes a really bad slide if I listed every book we're going to talk about. So this is sort of a quick glance. These are books that we like. These have good stories. We're going to jump into. First up is Supermassive. I talked about Boom jumping back into the exclusive thing. Whew. Supermassive. It's between this one and I think the other one's called Rogue Sun. If you follow Instagram and you follow stores, it seems like every store is doing an exclusive. If they've done an exclusive, they're doing it for Supermassive or they're doing it for Rogue Sun.
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, this is if you see the two covers on the right, they're by the one for 25 and the one for 50 by Capullo. The main character, Radiant Black from the Radiant Black series. Well, you're getting to meet some other characters now in his universe. Some of them got revealed early. The Rogue Sun, I think, is the guy behind Radiant Black. Then the yellow, the one that looks like the sun on fire.
Right.
So he's getting his own book, and then Supermassive. I think there's like 3 or 4 different books spinning out of this.
Is this a one shot?
I don't believe so. I think they're each going to get their own series. Because this is the writers on this book. Kyle Higgins wrote Radiant Black. He was one of he started at Boom writing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So that makes a lot more sense for Radiant Black.
It does.
Guess who's working on this one? Ryan Parrott, who is the current writer for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So that's why you're going to get this feel. The stories are fun. Radiant Black was good. There's twists in the story that you don't expect. I have not read the last 3 or 4 issues, but up until like issue 7, I'd read, and I mean, I was surprised by some of it. I enjoyed some of it. There are definitely some. If this book becomes anything, there are definitely some books throughout the series that are worth grabbing. Issue 5 for Radiant Black is one to grab because that's where you get to meet more of these Radiant characters. But yeah, I'm not sure where I stand on this. The covers don't strike me. The fact there's so many store variants, which also means there's so many 1 for 25s and 1 for 50 incentives out there.
But this is the first appearance of these other 2 Jokers.
First appearance, I believe it's the first appearance of Rogue Sun, who's the guy on fire behind him. I'm not sure about the Supermassive character, the actual name of the title. I'm not sure if that person existed before.
Okay.
I haven't been keeping up enough to know.
Yeah. And what is Radiant Black on? 10, 11, something like that?
I think it would just hit 13.
Okay.
So they're a little ways into it. I pick up an incentive if I find them cheap. I like some of the series, but the costume design reminds you of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
It's basically Higgins and Parrott going, if we can make our Power Ranger story a little more adult.
Right. That's kind of the feel I was getting from when I was looking at stuff, because I had no idea what this book was when you were like, hey, check this out. It seemed like Power Rangers meets Invincible.
Yeah.
And like was this one of the biggest things to come out that's new for Image last year?
Radiant Black was one. Well, no, because they had Stray Dogs.
Okay.
Radiant Black, but it's the first thing in a while. Well, I don't know, because their Image is getting better about spinning off stuff. If they see something successful.
Yeah.
And it's not just Image, because Image is creator owned, so the creators are seeing the money. So they're going, hey, if I spin off another series, I can have 2 series going with more exclusive covers. So now I'm hitting 50,000 copies because 20 stores want to do a store exclusive.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know when the market will hit oversaturation, but the reality for a lot of these stores is they buy 500 copies or 1,000 or whatever. They only have to sell a certain percentage to break even.
Yeah.
and then from there on out, they can put them in $5 sales for years, and they still make money because they've already broken even at whatever their break even mark is.
Right.
And that all depends on the artist. That depends on what type of deal they have to get on the book, the printing cost. They always are going to buy more than they actually sell because damages and all that. Because everyone, if you're buying an exclusive, you want a 9.6 and above.
Right.
So if some come damaged, well, eventually you throw those in your $2 boxes. I mean, so
cool. Well, I mean, I'm gonna look at that
yeah.
next week when I go. Definitely picking this up.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I'd heard about this book, but then you read the solicitation, and it's like,
yeah, it's awesome.
Oh my freaking goodness! And I don't know what cover. There are 5 covers, and one I could care less about is both like Jock.
Yeah. I like the cover B.
The one for 50 Jock is nothing.
Yeah.
That's Ian Bertrand, who did Little Bird.
Little Bird, yeah. Yeah, he's
which I loved. That was one of those image gems that I struggled reading, and then I finally read it. I was like, oh man, I just wish I picked this up sooner.
Yeah, I bought those as they came out because I like his work. It's very faux Mobius, like almost in the right place. But yeah, I'm excited about this, and it's wordless, so it's a silent comic, which I mean I've always been the biggest fan of since I was little, and I read G.I. Joe 21. Right, actually, like that was the first like silent comic that I had ever seen, and I had a beat up copy. Like it was one of the few comic books I had from when I was like under 10.
Yeah.
So picking up this, and it's like oversized. It's like 48 pages or something. I don't know how much it is. It's probably $6.
I can't tell if it's a $4.99 or $6.99 on the cover there.
Yeah.
So so I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna pick it up too. It just looks fun.
Yeah. I didn't love Coda because this is the same creative team that did Coda.
Coda started off good, but
I wanted to. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. It was hard to see, hard to read.
Yeah.
But this, from all the stuff that he's posted, because I started looking, like when you were like, hey, check this out too, and I had barely even blipped it on my radar. I started looking on his stuff on Instagram, and everything that he's teased looks great.
Yeah.
It looks really fun.
I think there's even a Bleeding Cool article out there where you get the first like 4 pages.
Oh, nice. I haven't looked at that yet.
So,
and I looked, and it's right now there are 3 issues that they've solicited. So that was cool. It seemed like, it could be one and done maybe, but I'm excited about this.
Yeah. Sorry, my finger actually went a little faster than I meant to. But jumping in the next book here, honestly, I don't care. Ghostwriter. This is Ghostwriter number 1. There's a whole bunch of covers by Marvel, not even store exclusives, and then you throw in a few store exclusives. There's your all 6 different ones. The only one I'm excited about, and this is because I was excited about the Spider-Man that came out. These Fornays, who is my new man crush for comic book artists, is doing these shades variants where the heroes looking through the shades. I missed out on Spider-Man at my LCS. I couldn't believe I missed out. I was like, I thought I'd be the only person that wanted it.
Right.
But this is Ghostwriter. I actually really do like the skull lighting up behind the shades.
Every artist loves drawing Ghostwriter.
Oh,
he's fun as hell to draw.
I mean, look at Momoko here in the center. This is one that I'm like, okay, I can get behind this one. And then, yeah, these covers are great. You have the one for 25.
Hunkley is awesome. Man.
Did I in Hunkley, the best skull cover I've ever seen in Hunkley do is he did it for Izzy's Comics. I think I posted this on Instagram. He did it. It was for MF motherfuckers. MF
yeah.
Oh my gosh, the comic I could care less about, but it has dude flaming skull sitting in a chair just laying back with a 9mm about to shoot himself.
It was crazy. Yeah,
it's so freaking good. Like I don't understand why more people don't talk about that cover. If I knew where it was, I might just
pull it out, huh? Yeah, I mean, so I get it. I have no idea. Is there a new Ghostwriter coming? Is it all Johnny Blaze? I don't know. Nelm, she froze on me. Well, there goes the viewership. Because I'm not carrying this thing. So, yeah.
Massive mess in my room.
I got nothing. I can't hear a word you're saying. Did I freeze and die?
Sorry about that,
Hey,
guys.
there you are.
My internet is screwy. We've had some bad weather roll through our neck of the woods, and I think all of a sudden my internet said "F you,"
Yeah.
and I was worried it would happen middle of the show. Looks like it's happened in the middle of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, we had some pretty high winds today. It was crazy.
So let me work on sharing my screen again.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, Gnomes is gone. There goes the viewership. I'm not gonna leave.
I'm just glad you didn't leave.
I almost did. I was like, oh, I'm out.
All right. So, guys, once again, we're talking Ghostwriter. Just great covers to check out. I'm not sure about the book. I'd actually, from reading the solicitation, I'm like, I don't know if anything new is going to happen. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. I was like, this seems like maybe somebody had a Ghostwriter story they wanted to tell, and then really talked Marvel into it. So it must. I don't know who's writing it. Do you know who's writing it?
Let's see if we can look on the slide and see. Oops, wrong way.
Looking forward to that.
Wow.
Just
Why
giving
is
away,
my slides going the wrong way?
You're just giving away all the secrets, man.
Yep. Percy, who's Benjamin Percy, who wrote Wolverine.
Yeah, they like him lately.
Yeah, he did Year Zero, I think, is what he wrote, and then from here on, then he got picked up by Marvel doing a bunch of good.
And do you know what the Smith is?
I do not. That's probably too many
a lot of
Smiths out
Smiths.
there.
Yeah.
It's like, is it CP? Is it?
I doubt it. I would be interested in that. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'll flip through it, see what it looks like.
Doing this, I do like dropping in the solicitation write up, especially for books. I'm like, okay, I haven't really been reading, but the solicitation just sounds great.
Yeah.
Killadelphia, have you been reading it?
Yeah, I'm caught up. It's awesome.
Oh, is it? See, I'm so far behind.
I do not care about vampires and werewolves. I'm sort of into history, but I mean, when Rodney Barnes was like pitching it, he was like, I just watched an interview with Sean Alexander last week, actually, where he was talking about how Rodney Barnes kept coming to him with this idea after, and they've been friends forever, I guess. And finally, he said, it's like Hamilton, but with vampires. And that was what flipped the switch for Jason Sean Alexander to be like, okay, I'll read the script. And he read the first script and was like, this is really fun. Let's do it. And they didn't know, they had no idea it was going to go beyond the first arc, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's been really fun. He's doing the right kind of historical referencey things. The artwork is super energetic and fun, like Jason Sean Alexander always. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it actually. It's a lot like his Spawn run,
which brought Spawn back to relevance.
Yeah, but without Spawn, so
yeah,
maybe even better. Yeah, I've picked up. I don't have every issue, but I've read every issue.
Yeah.
And I've picked them up anytime I see one after I think I have 1 through 10, and then I've missed 1 or 2 because they're coming out every 6 months or whatever.
Well, that's because all the painting. I mean,
yeah, he's working hard. It's awesome. Yeah, and I'm excited about all the covers are usually good, but he's doing what he did with Spawn when he first started. Jason Sean Alexander, when he first started illustrating Spawn, they started printing a black and white version of the book. So for 19, there's a D cover or something. I think it's the same as the A cover, but it's
Mhm.
black and white. And then the interior pages are just his pencils.
Okay, because I know they did that. McFarlane did that for $2.99 for Spawn.
Yeah, he did it for a bunch. They did it for a bunch of Spawn, and I picked up as many of those as I saw. I didn't see them all, which is weird. I thought I was the only one who wanted those. But yeah, and this Jay Lee cover
As well.
really nice, weird as hell, like always.
Okay, is it all back on?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, guys, I keep very frustrating. Whatever's going on in my house right now with the internet.
It's fun. You're just a tech guy. I mean, that's what you do for a living. So, So anyway, Killadelphia, 19, back. Yep. I'm going to leave. I should leave, right? Or at least draw, maybe. There we go. So I'm going to draw real quick. There's some drawing. Oh, hey! No, you're not back yet. You're still gone. But anyway.
So I know this is the most miserable show ever. Guys,
Just
once again,
for me.
I switched. I have hopefully switched to just my phone, so we'll see how that works out.
You
But
never use your phone. Cool.
so we'll see how that works out on my data. I don't know what's going on, but let's drop that image back in, and we'll speed up the going through the books.
Yeah,
So,
let's do that fast.
so
You seem clearer now.
all right, here we
Hey,
go.
it's us.
There we go. So J League cover, they do have a black and white. Guys, there are incentives for this, as well. So and Killadelphia usually doesn't have incentives, so that's something to keep an eye out on. It's a new arc, new story.
Yeah, I think Image is like knows it's a selling, so they're gonna pump it now.
So now we're just pulling covers that we'd like, pulling covers that might have some value. The Miles Morales Avengers 53 took off. It was a Black History Month. This is Iron Man 17. This is Ironheart on the cover. There's a couple other ones that are okay, great. I mean, Schwabe does them all. I like the covers all the way around. This one I definitely could see potential behind. I'm not sure how many people would have ordered enough copies of Iron Man 17 because he's like cosmic Iron Man, and I don't know even what's really going on. And then in the center, here's the one for 25, Miles Morales. This is sort of interesting. This is evidently Miles Morales there's Clone Saga was issue 25, and it's still semi going on. There's like a lot of clones. Now there's just one clone who's sort of his buddy named Shift, and they have to go in and they're still working on figuring things out. But I do sort of like this cover. It's by Garon, however you say it. The big money book that might still have been under ordered, but it probably hasn't, is Catwoman 40. This is the one for 25. So Zamaika, who took the world by storm with when that last issue 39 came out. It was a $150 book the day it came out, and I think it reached maybe even $250. It was competing. I think Black Panther overtook it as being the ridiculously priced book. But this one didn't really have any really appearances in it or whatever. This one's not quite as sexy. I do know that Catwoman 39 does have a second print and does have a second print with the Samaka cover, and then it has like a different version that's a 1 for 25 of it.
Wow.
So they're playing the color variant game. Like one was white, now one is black, and now one is purple or something. That doesn't come out this week. I think it'll come out maybe next week. I'm not sure. But so I do like the fact that she actually responded back on Instagram. I told you about that last week.
Yeah,
so
funny.
It's sort of cool. More covers we like. Giving Nakayama some love. He's the ex-Deaths of Wolverine. This is the anime version. If you know him, then you also know that he's not just famous for doing covers and his little DNA signature. He did all the Marvel Legends toys, like the box art. Um, so this Wolverine, that's what it reminds me of. It doesn't really remind when I don't think of this as being anime. I think of this as being like the Wolverine you see on the box toys for.
Yeah.
And then this Power Rangers 1 for 100. There's actually a 1 for 50 as well. That's by Montez. That is a negative space variant as well. It's fun. Carnage Forever sort of caught me by surprise. That was today. I didn't when I looked at League of Comic Geeks, it wasn't there, but it was on Midtown when I was looking today. I really don't like jumping into Venoms and Carnages because it just gets old to me.
Right.
But something about this cover I do like.
Yeah.
It might just be the yellow.
Yeah, I think it is.
Doesn't mean I'm going to get it, but it is Carnage Forever #1.
Yeah.
It's a 1 for 25. Dan Passion, however you say the name.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I like his work usually.
And then for a guy who tells you I don't like Adam Hughes, it seems like every week I pull an Adam Hughes book. Because I do know they sell.
That's true.
Black Widow, I actually really like the series. I do try to pick these up now when I see them. He's doing this is Electra Red, Black, or Black, White, and Blood. Negative space variant. I do like it. I probably will pick this up. I know there's a Virgin cover out there that I think Frankie's is doing store exclusive of. Maybe it's a different store. It might be, I don't know, one of the other stores that like them. And then this Vampirilla Unholy by Dynamite. It's like the C cover. I don't think there's multiple versions of it. I think it's just this cover. I just don't know if your stores get enough copies of Unholy to have gotten more than one or two of these. So this one could be a $5, $10, $15. You buy it for $5 and flip it for $15. It's one of those for Hughes collectors. This will probably be a harder one to track down and get. But it's been known about, but I'm not sure if it was known about before FOC. So final order cutoff is typically a month or 3 weeks before. So sometimes these images are released, sometimes they're not. So now we're into the indies. Go ahead.
I saw him post something about it.
Yeah. And he's gotten, if you follow Adam Hughes on Facebook, if you follow him on Instagram, actually his wife does most of the posting. They've gotten really good about dropping the images and teasing the images. So you do sort of know what you're getting yourself into. Indie Spotlight, this is where Joe and I sat down and went, this is not about buying books because we think they're great. We're buying books because we want to read them. I mean, Monstrous is one of my pull books. This is probably one of my favorite covers to come out. And it's going to be really hard to get a 9.8 of this.
Yeah.
So, Monstrous, I think, comes out in 6 issues at a time. So this is the start of a new arc, and then they'll run through 6 issues, and then I don't know how long they plan on doing it. But Saga, you read 55, didn't you, Joe?
I did. A little late.
Was I right?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, it's what made you read one. That's what got you hooked. It's what made you. I see. I don't feel like 19 really hooked you quite as much, but what the next 32 or whatever wouldn't hooked you.
Yeah.
Such a good.
No, he's got it down. Like,
oh yeah.
He was on Cartoons Kayfabe like last week or 2 weeks ago or something, and they were just talking writing comics, and he was just like, well, Saga is pretty much, I've got it down to this. It's like a tease at the beginning and then 3 scenes, and that's it. Everything's 3 to 4 panels. Let Fiona do all the work. And I mean, she never lets you down. She never lets you down. It's awesome. Berserker, really?
Like I said, my man crush on Fornes here. His 1 for 25, and then there's also I think a 1 for 100 of this.
Wow.
That was one thing I noticed when I did the Comic-Con thing. 615,000 copies were ordered, but 475,000 were actually accounted for Diamond, meaning a bunch were returned probably, or a bunch were, I mean, Still, that's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books.
Boom had between Berserker and Something's Killing the Show or House of Slaughter. Those were the big winners for them. I don't know. Berserker is one of those funny books to me because I don't know how many people are reading it, but at the same time, I don't know how many people actually.
The artwork's great.
How many people that read comics and how many people that speculate comics are two completely different groups of people.
Right. Yeah.
And I think right now what we do here, hopefully, is bridging that gap for some people. That what stories are good, because I love seeing indie books that take off because they're good stories, like Saga did when it came out.
Yeah.
Monstrous did when it came out. Berserker was way too much about Keanu and we're going to make a movie out of this.
Yeah. I mean, the artwork is good. I really enjoy it because it's Ron Garney or whatever. And the story is fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think I read the first like 3 and then I just hadn't been like at the top of my list of what to do. I think if they can build a mythos around it as they're figuring it out, then it'll probably be good. It was kind of clouded in mystery the first issue or 2, you know. So, but I mean, the artwork is so great that like it's violent and like it's history hopping. Like it's got a lot of things that the algorithm is like, we like this, you know. So I don't know. I also really like this cover too. It's very John Wick.
Yeah. Okay, and we're doing 2 slides of indie spotlights. And there's actually probably books we'll talk about still. This is actually a trade paperback, Snow Angels. It was actually the digital comic first released on Comixology. It was 10 issues or on Comixology. I'm not sure how long each issue was or whatever, but it's Jeff Lemire and Jock. Sort of excited. I read online a lot, but I also like holding it in my hand. And it's a trade paperback. I like it, but it's about $20. So that's a weird line for you. Of, do I buy it? Do I not? How good is it? But I know Joe, you said you have it in your Amazon box. I have it. I buy it and going, maybe there'll be a discount.
Right. That's what I've been waiting on. And then terrible, but yeah, it's kind of short because I guess it's just volume 1, so it's like 100 pages.
So it's like just the first 5 issues, not even the first 10.
Yeah, if it was the whole thing for $20, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. Yeah. But Image spoiled us with volume 1s being $10.
Yeah.
And so now we're kind of like, well, do we want to pull the trigger? It's Jeff Lemire and Jock. Like, I love them. I love them separately. I would probably love them together, right? I've read the first 2 issues, and it was good. It felt like older Jock and older Jeff Lemire. And I follow Jeff Lemire on Substack, and it's kind of an older story that he kept pitching from in 2013 maybe. So like it's just this stuff that, you know, like we talked about with Ram V a couple weeks ago. Like, you know, they've been writing this whole time. They've got a backlog of stories that they're like, hey, let's try and throw that out there. And finally Jock was like, hey, let's do something together. And he finished it up and polished it and handed it to Jock. And then they got some kind of deal with Comixology or whatever. And
yeah, because I think Jim Lemire's doing a couple of different things with them.
Yeah, I think they thought that was going to be a bigger thing than I think maybe what it turned out to be. Because, I mean, most of us who are in this game of reading comics and maybe flipping some comics, like, you can't flip a digital file, man. Like, and I would much rather read a book. Like, I remember a book by flipping the pages. I read a lot of stuff online, and it just is like another image that you scroll through, you know?
Yeah.
And there's just something about that, like, tangible. So I will buy this eventually.
Yeah. But I think that's where Substack's actually sort of filling that little gap.
Yeah.
You can get the entire comic digitally, but if you pay to be a member, you can get the physical copy of it as well.
Yeah.
So like, or it's a special cover or whatever. And I'm curious to see if they eventually go, well, you know what? Image reached out. They want the entire book now.
Right.
But like,
I mean, the thing with Substack, because I follow Lemire and Jonathan Hickman, and both of them are kind of doing the same thing, where it's like, well, if you're a part of this, if you're paying for the monthly subscription, then you'll get a physical copy. But that's kind of like destroying half or maybe more. Like, how many people are who like you so much they want to follow you and listen to everything that you have to say and read all of the trash that you're talking about, and like you're basically paying them for R&R. Is like R&D, like research and development. That's what they're doing. And then, yeah, you came along for the ride, so here's the book. That's perfect. But what about the guy like me who's like, I'm not going to pay for the monthly. I want to buy the book when I walk into the local comic shop.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think that this is new. People jump on things because they're new. I'm curious to see if this method lasts more than 2 years.
Yeah.
If I mean, some people are like, I know Tinian, but he's always dabbled in exclusives. He's always dabbled in special things on his websites and his. So it'll be interesting to see if it truly is profitable for people or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know the big guys can do it because they don't need the revenue, right?
Yeah.
Like they're like people like Kirkman, people like Hickman, like they've had stuff that like is making them money in other places, so they can. Brian K. Vaughan, like they can do these like experimental weird things because it's like, oh well, then they have complete ownership of everything. Kirkman does that, but that's because he, is like Image. He's one of the Pantheon now or whatever. So like, but like a normal person trying to make it in comics still has to like write the crappy book and then do this and then do that, like, and it's just it's a weird play that is like, I'm not sure how I feel about it, as you can tell, because I'm like,
the other side of that is what actually this next book is. This is by Garrett Gunn. This is Christmas Caroline. He does one of these a year. It's sort of like a Christmas special. Doesn't necessarily mean it comes out at Christmas time, but this is the second one of this. Garrett Gunn, who I really love, I got a chance to interview him, but he did the Warcorns. He does Good Boy, which is just started this week. So if you want Good Boy Volume 2, it just started. You can jump on that Kickstarter. But he does the Kickstarter method. Most of his books, he does it through SourcePoint. I haven't seen him, and maybe he's just sitting back and waiting for an opportunity to write for the big two. But I think he's getting this down. Now, granted, each book he's done has gotten a little more press, a little more love. Franklin Ghost got a little bit, then nothing. Then Warcorn's got more, but not a ton. Good Boy's blowing up. People are wondering, like, how did I miss it? And I was like, well, if you listened to my podcast a year ago, you'd have known about this thing. But that's neither here nor there.
I think the Kickstarter method is, I mean, I've been looking at a lot more of them lately when they pop up. There's a zillion. Yeah. There's like 14,000 comics and like graphic novels on Kickstarter. The ones that like are hitting, they're like thousands of % above what they wanted, because and so as a creator, like I know the guy, what's his name? I listened to an interview with the guy who did Scout back in the day. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Timothy Truman.
Yeah, Tim Truman. He's from West Virginia. Yeah. So I felt very at home when he was talking.
He did.
I'm from Nashville.
Star Wars issues.
Yeah. Tim Truman. He's great. He could write for anybody, right? He could draw for anybody. And he said the last like maybe 3 or 4 projects that he's done, he has made so much more money doing Kickstarter because, I mean, everybody knows his name except for me. I forgot it, but like everybody knows his name, and like he's got a fan base. So he was talking to whoever was interviewing him about like if he were to work for Marvel or DC and write a book, write Red Wolf for Marvel or whatever, like he would get his writer pay, he would get his penciling pages, his pay for that, and then he's done. But with the Kickstarter, like when it starts hitting thousands of % above what they wanted to make, that's just cash for him. So it's like the Kickstarter model makes sense especially if you're somebody like Timothy Truman, who's got a fan base, but not like he's not going to take Marvel by storm anymore.
Yeah.
Like everybody's over it.
We talked about Berserker and Noctura are both examples of established names and companies saying, you know what, we have an idea. Let's just see how popular of an idea it is. So like Snyder came out and said, hey, if you want to get the graphic novel to this book I'm creating, it's going to be a special version of this graphic novel. Noctura, which no one had heard of, but Snyder just come off of Batman. They did it through Kickstarter. And it's 600, I mean, it made hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Which for Kickstarter, if it hits $20,000, that's usually a successful Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But like their goal was like $60,000 or 80. I don't even know what. Same thing for Berserker. Berserker, I think, I'm not sure if it's hit the trade marker yet, but you could have gotten a trade or a graphic novel from them for the first 6 issues, or maybe it's the first 10. So some companies are doing that, but established names, like you said, are realizing, hey, I can get this sort of already predetermined it's going to get made, and then I can go to Image, or then I can go to Boom, or then I can go, hey, I've already got it sold. Now do you want to release the issues?
Right.
And then speaking of Boom, or Archaea is part of Boom. This is a book that it's already has a Netflix deal.
Oh, nice.
That's from reading the solicitation. Killer Affairs Estate. There's a what do you call them? There's incentives as well for this. I like this. This is a John Boy cover. John Boy Myers. There's a Virgin version of it as well. Netflix deal already established for it. I think this is the sequel. I never read the first one, so I don't know anything about it. But I like the cover. I might actually try to track down the first one. From looking at the names, it makes me feel like it might be a foreign book.
Right.
I think it might even be a foreign movie originally or whatever. But when you read the solicitation, it talks about being already a Netflix show and being a sequel. So as far as first appearances go, I don't know, but at the same time, it's a great cover. I might try to track this down.
Yeah.
So let's look at what we have, the list. Incentive variants, guys. I have to have 3 slides this time. There's so many books coming out, and some of the books that Joe and I are even more excited about don't make this list because this is just an incentive list.
Right.
This is all the books that have ratio variants. Last about I guess a month ago, I left Deathstroke Incorporated out, and someone got on to me for doing it. So Deathstroke Incorporated does have an incentive. This is Alex Garza. Midtown was already sold out. Once again, I don't know how many stores buy this book. I don't know how many people are just crazy for Alex Garza. Like last time, it made sense to me just because he was a guy who doesn't normally do mainstream covers. He does Naughty Nice covers. So if you're a fan of his work, you would chase down a Black Canary cover that he did. This is okay. It's a little too digital for me. If it's digital, it might not be. But I feel like it is.
I don't think so.
So yeah, Boom keeps re-releasing Firefly. I don't understand. It's the all new Firefly. Then they had the brand new verse of Firefly, and then you have the other. I don't get it. Killer Affair Estates also has a Francesco Francavilla cover.
Oh, cool.
It's not bad. I actually like the John Boy better, but it's still pretty cool. Then you get this is Patrick Gleason 1 for 25 Amazing Spider-Man. I sort of like it. I like the webbed up eyes and everything. The just sort of the look of it's sort of fun. You can see Killadelphia does have a 1 for 25 and 1 for 50. Black Widow has a variant. I'm not as big a fan. It's Phil Jimenez. Elektra. I love this is Smallwood. Greg Smallwood cover.
Greg Smallwood is awesome.
Great cover. The Iron Man I thought about showing too. It's a really cool cover. It's a bunch of little images of Iron Man like walking. Mm-hmm. It's like probably 30 images just in rows, just walking, and then each thing changes. It's a different Iron Man. It's a different thing, and then it's like a foot. It's like
cool.
So it has potential to be exciting. I like the cover, and then this is where I get mad. The Timeless and Thor second prints, we talked about them 2 weeks ago because according to previews, they were supposed to have come out, but I think they come out. Midtown has them listed coming out this week, so I think this is when they actually come out. You can't base everything off previews is sometimes wrong because diamond printing delays and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Joe,
shoot.
I pitched this, or not pitched this. I said I warned people we're going to talk about this book. You're an asshole.
Thank you. Thank you very
You
much.
were. I have it, but I had to follow Instagram to see that you released a book. I talk to you every week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So what is this?
This is me trying to figure out how to use digital stuff. So I went to my in-laws for like some birthday party, and I took a wooden samurai sword with me. I handed it to my nephew who's 4, and I said, "Hey man, let's go play." And we went through the whole neighborhood fighting trees, and I just took a ton of pictures of him. It was great. We had a blast. And then like 3 months later, when it was cold and gross outside, I sat down and made this book in about 2 weeks. And it's not long. It's like 24 pages or something. But yeah, it's like a comic of my nephew fighting basically Clayface, if you know anything about comics. But yeah, it's a bunch of ridiculousness.
So it's on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon.
Yeah.
You search for it by the name.
Yep.
It's a great thing is you chose a name for the character. There aren't a lot outside of getting Miami. You don't. It's like the first thing that comes up. So it's a really great.
Well, my nephew's name is Liam, but he can't say L's, so he calls himself Miam. So that's why it's Miam versus the Sludgies.
But great. Yeah. I love that you talk about silent. Very, very, very few words.
Yep.
Some fun. And is this all through like Procreate?
Yeah, it's Procreate. Yeah, just trying to learn how to. Well, first learn how to use Procreate and like not draw on paper, because like that's my baby, you know. And then trying to navigate the self-publishing world, because Amazon it's actually pretty usually user friendly, but there's a learning curve.
Yeah.
I had to reformat things a couple times, but I mean, again, I've never done any digital stuff until the last year or so. So it was a learning experience. I enjoyed it. I think I'll probably do a couple more of these. You know, I just want to have a bunch of things that I can be like, yeah, there's my book, and just like hand it to somebody.
No, I do appreciate choosing a white cover. So if you ever like go to a show, you can sketch right on top of it.
Draw over them, yeah. And there's a page or two at the back too that are blank. That I was like, well, I can draw a Sludgy back there in about 3 minutes. So you know.
So this is print to order.
Yeah.
So like as far as a comic book exclusive game, it's not really that. It's about supporting an artist, about liking what they do. Yeah. When I first looked at it and first read it, or not that you have to read too much, but like when I first looked, it made me think of that old kindergarten book, Harold and the Purple Crown.
Good. That's what I should do that. It's
purple. I mean, it's purple, but if you don't ever remember the book, it's basically all about imagination, and that's what this is. 3rd, 4th, 5th grader imagination going like, okay, ninjas and monsters, and what do I do? And he picks up a stick, and it's just fun. It's like, this is what I did when I was a boy in the woods. And I like Joe and I, when we share stories, this is the type of silly things you did. But it's all here in a book. It's all well illustrated. If you want to, you've seen Joe drawing every day, or when he does these shows with us, you can buy a piece, $10. You can buy it. You don't have to, but who knows? Maybe you can message him on the side and go, hey, I'd like you to sketch me something on top of that book. You can. I'm sure he's willing to do that for a little bit too. So, but guys, it's just great. But also I like the fact that you can self-publish something through Amazon, whether or not you like Amazon. Like, Joe, did you even know I ordered this?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I didn't know you made it, so I was like, I'm going to order it without telling you I'm ordering it.
Yeah, I got a couple people who like sent me a message or something, and I was like,
I tweeted the hell out of that thing when I saw it. I sent it to everyone.
I had no idea that this was a thing. Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to make it anyway, because it was like every year for his birthday, we've kind of made him a little book. Mm-hmm. Like one year, Paige and I made this thing. That's my wife. Where we got one of those flip books, you know, the blank flip books, and I just drew with Sharpies this little boy who caught words, and every time he caught a word, he became that word. So if it was dark, it got super dark, and it was just his eyes. Like, just really silly stuff because he couldn't read. He was 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
So this year I was like, well, I'm trying to figure this thing out. I'm trying to figure out layouts for comics and stuff. I don't need to write a whole lot because he can't read yet anyway. He hasn't even started kindergarten. So I just wanted to make a book that he could flip through and be excited that he's the character. And he of course, he's 5. He remembers when we went out and played with the sword. So like, he kind of understands the process. Mm-hmm. And I was going to make it anyway. So I was just like, well, why not put it on there and figure out the self-publishing thing by doing that too. So it's kind of like 2 birds, kind of thing.
It makes it. I love I mean, guys, I actually did really enjoy it. Like, I'm not just selling it because he's my buddy who does the podcast with me. No, I'm like, this is something I'm like, this is what, I don't know, showing people how to be creative without having a lot of words. You don't have to over-explain things. He does not. It's, oh wait, I remember being a boy, because now every video game it over-explains every scene. Like, I love this. Hey, read without reading.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hero's journey. Like, it literally goes through the underground, like through the cave. Like, yeah, it's Joseph Campbell, but without like having like it's the story we all know. So yeah. I tried not to make it too like there's no explanation for anything. But yeah, it's pretty fun. So I'll probably end up doing a couple more. I think, I've got a bunch of comic shorts that I've been doing for the last 2 years last year as I've tried to figure out digital comics. So eventually I will probably do those, and I didn't write them all. Like, my buddy Joe Cardinal wrote one, my buddy Owen Krumenstein wrote one, my buddy Dan Blumig wrote one. So I've got, and it's really neat. Like, now that I know how to do this, I could set it up for you. Like if we like got together, I could be like, hey Mesh, let's make a book.
Yeah.
Here's the size. Here's the thing. This is all you need to do. And I've already done all the hard work because I've failed at it so many times. But now, like, I could help you produce a book. Like, if you wanted to make something for your daughter, like, we could. It's that, like, the only real requirement is got to be 24 pages. Like, okay. So that's like pretty close to what a normal comic is. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, it's exactly like what I want to be doing. Like, I want to be making comics, and I am. It's just nobody knows about them. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Not quite comic book size. It's small, like a kid's trade paperback size.
Yeah. It was just it's the 6x9, the most standard like kids book size illustrated book that I could find. Yeah, but it feels good. I like the paper. Like, it printed well. I was pretty impressed, actually.
It's a weird, like, almost rubberized, the cover.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels good. I was shocked at, and the cover wraps around. It's like, my friend Chris, who I went to grad school with, he's got a book of poetry out, and he did the same thing. Pretty not like it's a pretty cool tool to be able to be an amateur and throw stuff out there that looks professional, and know that, hey, I'm an amateur, but this is definitely elevating. Like somebody has that in their hand. It's the object. It's the difference between looking at somebody's work on Instagram and holding a book in your hand. Yeah. Right. Like, it's the same thing of me saying I don't like to read digital comics because I don't remember them so well. But, like, you flip through those pages and there's this physical act of, like, I mean, you're doubling up your sensory input. So you're definitely going to have more of a connection to it. So anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining us. Guys, as always, check out comicbookinvest.com. You can see the latest list. You can see the list of what we sort of went through. In the links on Facebook and on YouTube. If you go through the links, I actually dropped the link for the Amazon. If you're interested in Joe's book, you can definitely grab one. You don't have to, guys. I just like the process. Hearing him talk about the process is always fascinating to me, of what you go through and just some of that type of stuff. And my brain's probably percolating, going, "Oh, I could," and blah blah blah, like, do those types of things.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.
See you.